Time then to look at some of the other stories from around Europe, from the World Cup qualifiers, as always, with Trans-Europe Express. Very own Andy Brassell. Good afternoon, Andy.
Good afternoon, fellas. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. You're not too bad. Yeah, I've got this conspiracy theory that Gianni Infantino can't even contemplate a World Cup finals without his beloved Cristiano Ronaldo. So he'll take a leaf out of his old mate Donald Trump's book and offer a presidential pardon. So he's able to start. He's only have a one-game ban. Was it really that violent, that elbow? Just give him one game. He got that out of the way last night. So, I mean, if I'm wrong and he's going to miss 3 matches and 2 in the World Cup, do you have to question whether it's worth picking Cristiano for potentially one game?
I mean, they will pick him just to
well, I know that.
Really surprise you there.
Yeah.
But that was great chat for Roberto Martinez. I'm sure we'll be sure to put it to him in the months to come. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a compromise and he misses, say, the first match of the World Cup, for example, because there's always a discretionary element to it. But I guess the remarkable, not remarkable thing that happened yesterday is that Portugal, having wasted their chances to seal qualification in the last 2 qualification games, including that one in Dublin that you were talking about, they had to make sure against Armenia in the last game. And it may sound a weird thing to say when they won 9-1. They had a little wobble in the first half. So they go 1-0 up early on when Renato Vega scores the opening goal. And then they concede a just terrible equaliser from there. And then really Armenia gift them a goal back to make it 2-1, which Gonçalo Ramos scores. And at that point, they really start to unload on them. 5-1 up at the break, 9-1 by the end. Hat-tricks for João Neves and for Bruno Fernandes, which I think underlines the fact that if they're going to score goals without Cristiano Ronaldo, it won't necessarily be a Cristiano Ronaldo replacement that does it. Nice as Gonçalo Ramos is, and of course the fact that he's not going to play every game between now and the end of the season, so he's probably going to have plenty of puff left when it comes back to the World Cup, which will definitely help. But of course, again, it brought up the idea of if you're not focusing on this one guy, and you've got so many other ways that if you're playing Portugal, there are so many ways that they can get you. And of course, they were out a couple of key players yesterday as well. There was the tension and the little wobble that they got over too. I mean, you would say it's food for thought for Roberto Martinez. I'm tempted to say it's food for thought for the next coach, who's maybe brave enough to deal with it when it comes to the tournament itself. Because as we saw at Euro 2024, there was no real reason to keep picking Ronaldo in every starting lineup, but they did it anyway. And I think we see the sort of shape that teams turn up to World Cups and European Championships in, that extra burst, that extra bit of dynamism that they can get from, be it a João Neves or a Nuno Mendes, who didn't play because he's injured at the moment, and they missed him. It was from his side that the Armenian goal was scored. Then it should be up to that part of the team to do it. They shouldn't really have to wait until after this. And you wonder if Ronaldo has part in that dialogue, really.
Yeah.
Right, you lot, forget all that scrolling past. You always keep watching my stuff, you watch Simon's stuff, and any other channel you like all their crap stuff. Stop, subscribe, you know what to do. Stop messing about.
What about Norway? I mean, you know, they had a great result. When you've got the best striker in the world, could they be a bit of a dark horse for the World Cup?
I tend to agree with you, Andy. I think they can go in deep. And I think it's because, you know, we have to contextualise this game against Italy. It was a great night for them. They really deserved it. They won all of their qualification games. And it was a big Norwegian party in Milan. But they played quite poorly in the first half. Italy were really good, I thought. And then they just came out second half and really grabbed it by the horns. As soon as they got the equaliser from Antonio Nusa, they were away. Holland scored 2 in a minute plus, which kind of sealed the deal. And you're right, having a striker that ruthless, it's hard to think of any teams out there who do have that. Not even England, in the form that Harry Kane is in. If you had to have someone have a chance to save your life, it would be Erling Haaland, wouldn't it? There's no doubt about that. And I think the thing is, they don't need to have a better team than anyone else. They don't need to be better than anyone else in any game on any particular given moment. He just needs to get a chance. And then that changes everything, really, in knockout football. So, I mean, obviously for them, it's a great source of joy because they haven't qualified for the World Cup since 1998, in which they beat Brazil, of course, in the last group game of that. But this is... I think this is a unique opportunity, really. You look at the age he's at, you look at the form he's in. If he turns up fit, they've got a chance, I don't think to win it themselves, but to ruin it for someone else who could win it.
Yeah. On to Italy then, who are condemned to the playoffs once again. And Gattuso's got a huge job, their coach, to get their heads right because they've been burnt in playoffs before. All the pressure's going to be on him and the team.
Would this be the third World Cup?
Yeah. And this, I mean, that's him. He'll be, if they don't win this playoff, if they don't go through, I mean, he knows he's out of a job as well. A lot of people think he shouldn't have got it in the first place, but there's a lot of pressure on Italy, isn't there, in the playoffs, Andy?
Yeah, there really is, Paul. And, I don't think Gattuso's really the main character in this, to be honest. As Andy was saying, like for Italy, one of the bona fide giants of world football, to not qualify for 3 World Cups in a row, particularly win the European Championship in the middle, it would just be absolutely unprecedented. But they really failed to build on that European Championship victory, which was so positive under Roberto Mancini. They've still got the players there. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They've got players to be competitive, not necessarily to be winners, but to be competitive. But it was something that Gigi Donnarumma said afterwards. Firstly, he said that was unacceptable, what happened in the second half. And he said it shouldn't be that we have a little setback and all of a sudden we absolutely fall to bits. And he's absolutely right. I don't think it feels as if there are enough leaders in the team. I don't think there's enough guts in the team. Now, on the other hand, we have to say they do have a few players out at the moment. There was no Sandro Tonali because, of course, they didn't want him to get the booking, which would have kept him out of the semi-final of the playoffs. But I think if you look at the teams they could get, of course, Italy will be a top seed. And as it stands, the bottom seeds will be Sweden, Romania, Northern Ireland, and one of whoever falls into third from Wales and North Macedonia. North Macedonia have done them at this stage of the competition before, so they definitely won't want to face them. Sweden, you're probably facing what you were talking about with Haaland before. You're probably facing Isak and Gyökeres in decent form.
Yeah,
and
they
fitness,
have got Graham Potter there, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? What a great new manager's start. Tremendous.
Actual new manager bounce.
Well, look, if he picks those two, he's making a decent start, isn't he? Like we were saying, it's not even about being the best team on the night. You think of that game where the playoff semi-final where they went out against North Macedonia. They had 30 plus shots that night, and North Macedonia had 2. And they still lost. So it's what's living in their head. It's less what they're capable of doing and more them worrying about what might actually happen.
Finally, Andy, we've got a shootout for top spot with Germany and Slovakia tonight, haven't we? I mean, Germany aren't home and hosed yet. We could see them. It's unlikely, but it could be a nervy old night for Germany. You reckon there's some stuff going off the field at the moment that could be a bit of an issue?
Yeah, there is. So Julian Nagelsmann, with all the questions he could have been asked in the press conference before this game in Leipzig against Slovakia, where they have to get a point, he was asked about Karim Adeyemi, the Borussia Dortmund forward, who emerged over the weekend has been fined £450,000 for possession of illegal weapons, including a knuckle duster and a taser. And he was asked about this, and he's like, honestly, I think this is way above my pay grade. I don't think I can answer this. And I think that was the best possible way to sidestep it. But obviously, it's the last thing they needed at the moment. Now, in terms of teams being a bit fragile and freaking themselves out, Germany are in that spot as well. Again, there's loads of talent there, but they're so rampantly inconsistent. They were really awful, actually, away at Luxembourg. They won 2-0. Nick Woltemade, who is the real bright spot, was brilliant. He scored twice. In fact, there was this editorial in Kicker at the weekend saying, you know what, I think he might actually be worth 80 million euros, which, you never expect German football to say. So given everything that Woltemade has had to put up with since he moved to Newcastle back home, remember he got booed at the last home game, really because he costs so much money, and that's repellent to a lot of German football fans. It's a very different attitude to money in German football to what it is in the UK, for example. The fact that he's able to get on with it, Woltemade, and just say, none of this affects me, I'll just turn up, play my game, improve, score my goals, bingo. I think that's a huge plus for them, because if they had not just more players of his quality, but more players of his character, I think they'd be home and hosed already.
Nice one, Andy. We'll catch up with you soon. Thanks very much.
Pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Andy Brassell there, of course, he's one half of Trans Europe Express with Danny Kelly. It's on every Sunday night. We just scratch the surface there, of course. We do every Monday with Andy. For the deep dive into the world of European football, whether that be club or country, then you need to listen to the boys on a Sunday night. Or if you can't do that, it's available as a podcast, thankfully. So wherever you get your podcasts or on the talkSPORT app, go and check out that deep dive into the world of European football with Danny Kelly and Andy Brassell. That's Trans Europe Express. We're going to talk about rugby next. Archie Curzon pops in to see us, comedian and rugby fan. Fantastic result for a very entertaining game, Andy. We both watched, didn't we?
Yep.
Very entertaining match at the weekend against the All Blacks. It's been a bit of a fallout over the hacker, as there always is. So we'll chat to Archie about that, and Steve Harmison pops in to see us ahead of the Ashes. That's all to come.